How many drugs can you name that have been taken off the market because of horrendous side effects? Vioxx? I'm sure you remember this infamous anti-inflammatory. Vioxx had annual sales of $2.55 billion. It was one of the most prescribed drugs in America before it was taken off the market. Bextra, a painkiller, taken off the market. Baycol, cholesterol-lowering drug. It was pulled when it was discovered to cause a debilitating muscle ailment that could be fatal. Cylert, an ADHD drug given to many children, was pulled when it was discovered to cause liver failure. Many children needed a new liver or died before the drug was removed from the market. The question should not be, how many can you name that have already been taken off the market because of horrendous side effects? The question should be, who do you know who is currently taking drugs that will be uncovered down the road to produce horrendous side effects? Make yourself aware. There is plenty of excellent information available. One subject that everyone needs to research is easy to find. Simply go to Google. Type in the search box, drug-induced osteonecrosis of the jaw. Then click search. Pick and choose any of the options that come up to open. Read, learn, and know. You could also search people with osteonecrosis pictures. The pictures that come up are very disturbing and very graphic. Another search you may want to do is esophageal cancer linked to bisphosphonates. Just because drugs haven't been pulled off the market doesn't make them safe. After all, there are plenty of drugs out there that have quietly gone away after years of wreaking havoc on unsuspecting people. And while major drugs being pulled from the market are worthy of lead stories on the evening news, too often the stories about minor drugs that get pulled are tucked away in places where they're easy to miss. The August issue of Life Extension magazine had an article titled, "Startling Link Between Bone Integrity and Overall Health." If you're concerned about bone health issues and the bad effects of bisphosphonate drugs, stay tuned. There could be a better solution for you. Is the source of your agony a result of inflammation? Your back, your hips, your knees, your shoulders, your neck to the top of your head? An inflammatory response study was conducted, and the results were published recently. The anti-inflammatory response of the body increased 140% due to this formula. Exciting? This lady did not need this study to know that this formula could do something awesome. She just experienced it for herself. Mary Rudisill, tell me about your hands.
Well, they used to be all bumpy like this index finger, only worse, and they were bright red from that knuckle down to the nail. And gradually they had bumps like over here that were really big. You can see the small one there. And a year and a half on Osteodents, calcium, and lactoferrin.
Tell me that again. What products were you on?
Osteodents, calcium, and lactoferrin.
Okay.
And you can see the results in a year and a half. They're much better. The only one that's still really, really bad is this index finger.
Well, and it's, and
it's not bad.
Yeah. Awesome.
But they have just improved 100%. They'll never be straight again, but I don't care about that. They're not red and ugly and bumpy.
Well, and do they feel better? I think that's probably the most important.
Yeah, they feel a lot better.
You can flex and pick things up, and
I can play the piano again.
Oh, wow. How important would that be to people?
Well, it would be when you play for church and all of a sudden you can't play anymore.
Awesome.
So that's it.
You had some crushed vertebrae, is that?
I had 4 vertebrae the discs disintegrated. And I still had bone on bone in the back. I've recently had an MRI where two of those, that area where I had no disc, they're now telling me that I have discs there. So there is a process of regeneration going on. Due to the products, that's all it could be, because I don't do any doctoring for my back at all.
Awesome. Are you excited about all of this?
Sure. I would have had 18 years or 19 years in a wheelchair, and instead I'm walking around, and I just drove 300 miles by myself in a car coming here this morning.
Without any challenges?
Without any challenges.
Awesome. You're a young woman, aren't you, Mary?
Oh yeah, I'm really young.
It's rude to ask a woman her age. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say what your age is, but anybody else with those kinds of challenges would really be in bad shape, wouldn't they, Mary?
Oh yeah.
The nutritional value of the food you eat is probably not as good as it was when your grandparents were around, right? Does that make sense? Everybody knows that, right? We all need nutritional supplementation. What if I told you that Nicans were pharmaceutical grade, which means they're 98% accurate in their labeling and contents, versus, did you know there's a law called the Good Manufacturing Practices Law? And it's, do you know what level of accuracy they have to have? 17%. In other words, they only have to have 17% of what they say on the label actually in the product, and it doesn't have to be in every tablet or pill. It just has to be in the batch that was made that day. The Good Manufacturing Practices Law, and it was written in 1934, when people were still stirring vats with wooden paddles, and in 1934, 17% was the highest level of accuracy you could reasonably expect to get. This is 2011. We can get 98% accuracy, right? That's called pharmaceutical grade, and we're the ones that have that. But our vitamins and minerals are different from anybody else's in that ours are from whole foods grown organically. Your body does not need more chemicals. Would you agree? It needs nutrition. What if I told you that this company had the joint formula that the U.S. Olympic team has been using for years? They're not using Celebrex and Vioxx, right? They're using our product. What if I told you that we had a product that would prevent osteoporosis, and if you had it, it would regrow bone, and we could prove it to you? Would that be a good thing? What if we had a product that could take your immune system? You know, your immune system is important, right? It fights off everything. So your immune system works perfectly till about age 35, then it begins to go downhill. But I'm soon to be 65, and I have the same level of immunity that I had when I was 18. And that's a blood test. You can test that. You can't fudge that research. Would that be a good product to have? But this bone health pack that we have is absolutely amazing. I just did a video and answered some questions that Dr. Naidu asked me to address from a medical point of view, and I've learned so much about bone health, almost all of it from Dr. Naidu. So I'd be delighted to answer any questions on bone health if that comes up. And you want to be on 2 osteodense a day and 2 lactoferrin a day, and you want to take so 1 osteodense and 1 lactoferrin at noon. And then you'll take 1 osteodense and 1 lactoferrin with your evening meal. And you can take 1 calcium in the morning, and then take 2 calcium at bedtime. Because calcium is better absorbed at night. And if you've got a diagnosis of osteoporosis, sure. And it's going to take a little longer for you to respond because you've had it for years. Does it make sense to you that the quality of sleep that your body gets, the quality of water that you bring into your body, the quality of air that you bring into your lungs, and the quality of nutrition that you give to your individual cells has got to have something to do with how healthy your body is?
Yes.
Where would you like to start? If you can get everything, get everything. But if you can't, start somewhere. My goodness. Our health is our wealth, right? Both my wife and I have had some health challenges over the years, and we're well. we're well. But I remember we were walking around in front of our house one day, and my wife said to me, she said, "Jim, you know, we're wealthy. We're wealthy in terms of the finances. We're wealthy in terms of the family that we have. We're wealthy in terms of the friends that we have. And we're wealthy in terms of the experiences that we can have in the world. And if we don't have our health, we've got nothing." Isn't that the truth?
So what are you waiting for? Get your hands on some formula. Who do you know who needs this formula? Who do you know who could have some interest in becoming a rep for this formula? Get back to the person who cared enough to share this information with you. Enough said?